Today I'm going to be playing Assassin's Creed Chronicles China, and it raises the question to me, why are most games these days just so serious? Now, I don't want you to think that I'm criticizing this game specifically for being serious, because obviously it's going to be a serious game because Assassin's Creed, it's about assassins, it's kind of a given. But I'll get to this game in a minute. But, just in general, when you think about the mainstream of AAA titles, you have like a lot of war games, Call of Duty, Battlefield, that kind of stuff, or just games that have a dark storyline, especially Assassin's Creed. It's always about how, it's oppression and killing and all that. It's really dark. And, except for like Nintendo games, obviously, there's really no adventure or action games that come out these days that don't have some form of shooting or killing. Even if you get away from, these multi-plat games, you look for something more like Uncharted, for example, which has some good platforming elements in it. But at the end of the day, there's still, I'd say the game is probably 75% shooting, maybe 25% platforming and puzzles. And, it just doesn't seem like there's many games out there anymore, except for, of course, the indie games. You get to things like the ukulele that's coming out, or even Shovel Knight. Yeah, you're killing stuff, but it's got more of a lighter theme, or some of the games even have like a funny theme. You think of games like Sunset Overdrive on the Xbox One, and yeah, there's a lot of killing involved, but it's not really the same. The game doesn't take itself seriously whatsoever, and sometimes that can, make the whole difference. If you look at the game Crackdown, it reminds me of a reverse Grand Theft Auto in a way that you are playing as the cops, but the game once again doesn't take itself seriously. And while it's got like a dark undertone, it kind of lifts the mood because it's not a serious game. But going on from that, I guess I can do sort of a review of this game. I didn't play a ton of it. It's a decent game. I like the style of it being 2.5D instead of it being full 3D like the regular Assassin's Creed, and it's not just a side scroller 2D. It kind of gives it some depth. You can go back and forward between some of the backgrounds. You go to the foreground. You just kind of jump around. It really opens up to new ideas, which most of them work. And that comes to the biggest complaint I had with this game is the controls. Sometimes they can be mapped for more than one action. For example, you can use the left stick, you go hide in something, you can climb up something, you can go off the side of something. It has so many different functions, and sometimes on especially smaller platforms, it can do more than one thing at the same time, and I found myself either going the wrong direction and putting myself directly in harm's way, or, if I'm trying to hide, sometimes it doesn't respond well enough. It doesn't think that, oh, he wants to hide, he wants to do this instead. And, it could be the version I'm playing, because I have noticed that sometimes certain commands seem a little delayed. Not a lot of them. Some of the combat, it's more fluid movements. It's not, the typical you mash the button and your character goes as fast as they can. It's kind of choreographed, I guess you can say. However, there was times when I first started playing the game that I noticed there was a frame rate drop. And there was even one moment where I saw the game actually freeze for about 10 seconds. Right in the middle of a jump, it just kind of froze the whole thing up. The sound was still playing. And it just decided, oh, okay, I'm going to come back and continue where we were, and never happened again. Now, I'm playing the Xbox One version because it was free with the Games of Gold. And it was a game I actually considered buying anyway. There are 3 in the series. I know there's China, there's India, and I believe Russia was the last one. Not 100% on that. But I mean, this is the first one. If some of these little things could have been fixed along the way. They could be very good. The last two compared to this one, I'm not 100% sure. I have to try those out sometime. Now, this game, as good as the gameplay is, I don't really feel overly invested into it just because the gameplay is amazing, but the story, it's typical Assassin's Creed. If you played one of them, you kind of know what they're all going to be doing. The same premise. It's just got, okay, now you're in Italy, now you're in the Middle East, this one's in China. It's got a little bit of a variety, but it's one of those things. I haven't really been into Assassin's Creed for the longest time anyway. The last one I really played was probably, I think, 4, and I haven't played anything really since. This was being free. I thought, okay, I'll get back into it. And because of that, I don't really see myself finishing the game so much. But I do recommend it. It is a very fun platformer and has a lot of puzzle elements in it. So I'd say at least gets like a 7 out of 10. And, if you really like the Assassin's Creed series, but you weren't sure about this Chronicle line of games, definitely go for it. Especially, right now it's free for Xbox Live members. For the rest of the month of September, you can just pick it up and, you're not really losing anything. But other than that, yeah, this is a pretty good game. Let me know what you think about the whole, gaming industry with all the serious topics of all their games these days. Let me know what you think. If you've noticed it, if you, I understand if you play just racing games for a living, certain channels on here only play racing games, and people like that, they're never going to notice because a racing game, very few of them. The Crew had a dark underlining, but most of the Forza games are just, oh, you're at a festival. That's not dark. But yeah, let me know what you think, and other than that, you have a wonderful rest of your day, and goodbye, everybody.